You mentioned another coach that is also in a sticky situation where things are just uncomfortable. They're not winning to the level that they expect to, and that is Ryan Day. He spoke for the first time a couple days after the embarrassing loss to Michigan. He believes that Ohio State is well positioned to bounce back. As much as it hurts, we get a chance to play for a national championship. You think about teams that are in the NFL wild card. They get that first win and they can get some momentum going and win the whole thing. That is the approach you have to have right now for Ohio State. You're not playing in the Big Ten championship game, so that goal is gone as well. But we've been saying this, right? How do you get rid of the taste of losing to a mediocre Michigan team? Go win a national championship. Now, it's going to require 4 wins over good teams, but otherwise, I'm just not sure how you move forward. And you mentioned it, like, does Ryan Day decide that this is just too much, that he doesn't want to go through the next 11 months with him and his family and all that this entails, the pressure cooker of Columbus? Because to me, part of the reason I find it hard to imagine that Ohio State and Ryan Day can move on together next season if they don't win a national championship is that he can't do anything about this for 11 months until that last Saturday in November. Like, nothing he does or says will convince anyone of anything until he actually beats Michigan again, which I just feel like is such an untenable position to be in and an uncomfortable position to be in. Do you just decide, I got to get my family out of here, I got to do something else? Or does the school decide, like, we just can't move forward on this? Like, I still think that's a very real question, even though athletic director Ross Bjork has said Ryan Day is our coach, and obviously they still have a lot to play for.
Listen, I think when you come out and you say that this is one of the worst things that's happened in your life outside of your father committing suicide, I don't know how you can be right moving forward, right? Like that is how visceral it is for him, how much it impacts his family. And I understand it. Listen, the city I grew up in, it's a program I played for. Like it's just different there, right? Like it's a fan base that has very finite definitions of success, and winning a title is part of it. The big part of it is beating your rival. And he stated the program goals are to beat Michigan, to win a Big Ten championship, and to win a national title. Brother, you haven't done either one of those since 2019 is the last time you beat Michigan. You haven't won a Big Ten title since 2020. You've never won a national title. Like, you've fallen short of your own stated goals. But it is such a crazy spot. And to your point, I think a lot of people would feel much better if there was a national title. I still think it would be weird for him. I still think there are people who are like, but you can't do the thing that we really care about year in and year out. I want to say this, and this is going to be like pure tangent, Joshua, and I just got to get off my chest. I am at a point where I'm curious how much more people feel like they need to see. There are 3 instances where a 12 men on the field penalty has gotten Ohio State in a crunch time situation. Georgia, that semifinal, there was a 12 men on the field when they went for a fake punt in a game, by the way, where they had multiple 2-score leads, one in the fourth quarter, and people blame the kicker in that one. It's neither here nor there. Got him there. It got him on the other side where Dan Lanning just was incredible in the margins of that game and figured out a way to kind of trap Ohio State. And then against Michigan, call a timeout, get the wrong personnel on the field, try to call another timeout, which you can't do. This is a guy who has not been detailed in the margins. It's a guy where special teams aren't very special. Like the things that the great teams do to win championships, I have not seen over the course of the tenure that they happen. And so maybe he pulls it together. But this also feels like a spot where guys might have walked in that locker room after the game and looked at the head coach and said, we played as hard as we could. We brought our A game, and you didn't give us the best opportunity to win through your preparation and through your plan. So like the idea of him going out there on the field for that first playoff game, I want to see it. Like, this ain't a time for slow starts like we watched all year long. Like, I need to see that response.
And again, like, these are the types of games that he has historically struggled in, right? He beats everybody that Ohio State's supposed to beat, and then they lose to the teams that are great teams, right? Like Michigan over the last 3 years, and then now mediocre Michigan team. You have to beat 4 good teams to win a national championship.
Are we confident that can happen? I'm going to say this last thing. And I know he's probably tired of hearing the comparisons to the guy who coached before him. We never lost in a true road game when I was at Ohio State in 4 years, and we never lost as point spread underdogs, which wasn't often, but those are the games that they pay you to win. we might have lost to Virginia Tech at home in a nasty way, multiple scores, like just no show that game. Like that was a thing that happened in the previous regime. But when it came down to tough games on the road, when it came down to being an underdog, for some reason, those were the best games that we played.
Well, that has to do with preparation. And we talked a lot about this offensive game plan for the game against Michigan. Complete head scratcher to go away from everything that you have the strengths and you have advantages in the past game. And it felt like it was trying to prove something by running it up the gut, like the way that Michigan has beaten Ohio State the last few years.
Crazy.
Feels like Harbaugh maybe was like in his head of like, this is toughness. This is like how you win this game.
It's crazy.
So we'll see. I mean, again, you have a couple weeks to regroup and see what Ohio State's got left and what Ryan Day has left. But I think that some of the conversations about his future, they don't win a national title or they get a first round knockout or something, that gets real loud because everything that's been like deferred from the Michigan loss and repackaged, like, well, they still have all this to play for, that comes out.